You waited months for this trip. You saved money for it. You planned it. You imagined it. And now you're standing there in the place you dreamed about, and you feel almost nothing. Not disappointment, not sadness, just a strange flatness. Like you're watching yourself be happy instead of actually being happy. That's not a coincidence. That's not you being broken. That's how your mind is built. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. Think about the last time something good happened to you. A vacation, a concert you waited a year for, Christmas morning as a kid, the day you finally got the job. In the moment, something felt off. You kept checking your phone to capture it. You kept thinking, I should be feeling more than this. You kept comparing the moment to the moment you imagined before it happened. And weirdly, it's often afterward, days or weeks later, remembering it, that you finally feel the joy. You look at the photo and think, that was such a good day. But when it was actually happening, you weren't fully there. This isn't rare. This is almost universal. And there's a reason your brain does this to you every single time. Here's the first thing to understand. Your brain did not evolve to experience joy. It evolved to survive. Pleasure, to your brain, is not a reward for living well. It's a signal. A tiny chemical nudge that says do that again or go toward that. But a signal has to be brief. If it lasted, it would stop being useful information. It would just become background noise, like a smell you stop noticing after 5 minutes in a room. This is called hedonic adaptation. Your brain is built to notice change, not to sit inside pleasure. So the moment a good thing arrives, the concert starts, the vacation begins, the promotion is announced. Your brain has already started adjusting to it. It doesn't let you stay in the peak. It pulls you back to baseline as fast as it can. But there's a second layer, and this one is sneakier. While the good moment is happening, your mind isn't only experiencing it. Part of your mind is narrating it, watching it, grading it. You've probably noticed this. You're at the moment you've been waiting for, and a part of your brain is asking, is this as good as I thought it would be? Am I enjoying this enough? Will I remember this later? That narrating voice takes you out of the experience in order to evaluate the experience. Psychologists call this the difference between the experiencing self and the remembering self. Two different systems inside you, running at the same time, often working against each other. The experiencing self just feels things, moment to moment, with no memory and no judgment. The remembering self is the one building the story, deciding later what mattered, what was worth it, what you'll tell people about. Here's the strange part. The remembering self is the one in charge of your decisions, your nostalgia, your sense of a good life. But it's terrible at actually being present. So when something important is happening, your remembering self hijacks the moment early, trying to package it, rate it, preserve it, before it's even over. That's why you check your phone during the sunset instead of watching it. That's why you think about the photo you'll post instead of the food you're tasting. You're not failing to enjoy the moment. You're being pulled out of it by the part of you that's trying to hold on to it. But here's where it gets even stranger. Anticipation almost always feels better than the actual event. Think about it. The week before the trip, imagining it, often feels more alive than the trip itself. The night before your birthday as a kid was sometimes better than the birthday. Why? Because anticipation is pure imagination, and imagination has no flaws. In your head, the vacation has perfect weather, no arguments, no exhaustion, no bad Wi-Fi, no waiting in line. Reality can never compete with a version of itself that has no friction. So when the real moment arrives, your brain is quietly comparing it, not to an average day, but to the flawless fantasy you built in advance. And reality, being real, loses that comparison almost every time. This means the disappointment you feel in the moment isn't really about the moment. It's the gap between the imagined version and the real version. And here's the deeper twist. Your brain doesn't want you inside the present moment for very long, because the present moment carries no data yet. It isn't finished. It might still go wrong. Your brain prefers stories that are complete. Beginnings, middles, and clean endings. Because complete stories are safer to learn from. The present is unfinished, unpredictable, still unfolding. Your brain feels safer once it's over, once it can be filed away, summarized, judged. That's why, So often, the true, warm, full feeling of happiness arrives after the event, in memory, where the moment finally has an ending, a shape, a meaning. Not because the past was better than the present, but because your mind can only fully relax around things it has already survived. You are, in a very real sense, built to enjoy your life in the past tense. So next time you're standing in a moment you've waited for, and it feels smaller than you expected, it's not because the moment failed you, it's because part of you was too busy trying to hold on to it to actually feel it. Maybe the goal isn't to force yourself to be present harder. Maybe it's just noticing, gently, when the narrator in your head starts grading the moment, and quietly telling it, "Not yet. Let me just watch the sunset first. You can write the story later." Because one day, this moment, the one that feels too ordinary to matter right now, is exactly the one you'll wish you could go back to.